Graveyard was not a graveyard. It was a garrison in slumber. And something, perhaps the intruding fleet, perhaps some hidden trigger, had awakened it. The awakening storm. The first Terran ship moved, slowly at first, like a giant stirring from centuries of sleep. Its engines flared and space rippled with its sudden acceleration. Others followed, entire squadrons falling into perfect formation without hesitation. The alien fleet panicked. They issued warnings, demanded identification, but their words fell into the void unanswered. Instead, the Terran vessels aligned, weapons arrays blooming like the unfurling of ancient claws. Against all reason, their systems were flawless. Their shields shimmered with layered frequencies unknown to modern science. Their weapons locked with precision that left no margin of error. "Impossible," one alien whispered. "No machine endures this long. No fleet survives untouched." And yet here it was. Humanity's hidden armada, not destroyed, not forgotten, but preserved. When legends take flight, the Terran fleet moved as one entity, not a collection of derelicts, but a singular storm unleashed. Formations that had not been seen for millennia carved across the void with ruthless beauty. The alien observers scrambled their fleets, cutting-edge warships, bristling with graviton cannons and dark matter lances, advanced to challenge the rising shadow. The response was instant. Terran cruisers pivoted with fluid grace, their weapons discharging bursts of light that bent space itself. Alien shields collapsed under the weight of attacks they could not anticipate. Vessels that boasted of modern supremacy were carved apart by technologies long thought primitive. But nothing was primitive. These ships were relics only in age, not in strength. They bore the precision of a species that had lived war as art. Alien crews screamed across open channels as their fleets disintegrated. Entire armadas, meant to police the void, crumbled before machines that history had sworn were dust. Above the gas giant, the skis themselves seemed to shudder with the awakening storm. The terror of readiness. What horrified the Council most was not the destruction, it was the discipline. These were not rogue war machines, not malfunctioning husks firing wildly. The Terran fleet operated with chilling order, their codes synchronized, their formations tightened. Their maneuvers matched doctrines that alien strategists could only theorize about in simulations. No hesitation, no rust, no falter. Every alien commander realized the same truth at once. This was not a rediscovery. This was a return. The silence had never been death. It had been patience. The galaxy remembers. Word spread like wildfire across the stars. Fleets rooted. Colonies trembled. Archives scrambled to revise themselves. For centuries, aliens had spoken of humanity as a myth, a failed experiment, a forgotten ember. Now they whispered a new phrase across transmission channels. The humans kept their storms. The fear was not just in what they had seen, but in what they had not. If one hidden system contained such a fleet, how many others slept in darkness? How many armadas, coded to wake at signals unknown, waited for the day they were needed? The archives had admitted nothing, but the skis themselves had declared truth. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had not fallen. Humanity had preserved its wrath, folded into steel, hidden beneath silence. And now that silence was broken. Aftermath of dread. The council gathered again, but this time their words carried no certainty. Their voices trembled as they replayed footage of black hulls cutting through their proud fleets. Some argued for diplomacy. Some screamed for war. But none could agree on how to fight an enemy that had already prepared for them centuries before. In the shadow of that awakening armada, a new legend spread. If this was humanity's forgotten fleet, then somewhere beyond the stars lay arsenals greater still. Perhaps whole fortresses buried beneath moons, perhaps entire armadas hidden within nebulae. The galaxy now lived with a single truth carved into its bones. Humanity does not vanish, humanity waits. And when the day comes, when the silence breaks, they do not rise with whispers. They rise with thunder. The archives said nothing. That was what unsettled the Tsaran scholars most. Their historical annals, carved from millennia of war and conquests, contained records of every empire that had risen, every species that had burned bright and then faded. Yet when it came to the Terrans, the humans of the blue cradle called Earth, the records ended abruptly. According to what survived, humanity had burned itself out in wars of attrition, flaring brightly for a mere fraction of galactic history before collapsing into ruin. The last reliable transmissions dated back almost 8 centuries. Broken signals, distress beacons, fragmentary cries for help that dwindled into nothing but static. The consensus was unanimous: humanity was gone. For generations, alien empires repeated this story, teaching their young that Earth was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of civilizations that reached too far, too quickly. And so, in the grand archives of the galaxy, humanity was filed away as a footnote, a dead species not worth remembering. But silence is not the same as absence. Whispers among the stars. It began with anomalies. Patrol fleets near the Veil Expanse, a starless gulf at the edge of known space, detected faint emissions. They were strange, patterned in ways that resembled no natural phenomena. The signals pulsed like distant heartbeats, as if some ancient machine was still clinging to life. Most dismissed them. Ruins, the Council declared. Echoes of Terran stations, nothing more. The Veil, after all, was littered with the husks of old colonies and forgotten wars. To send ships there was a waste of resources. Yet the signals grew stronger. Survey drones that slipped past the expanse's edge sometimes returned corrupted, their data incomplete, as if something had interfered. A few never came back at all. Rumors spread among junior officers. Some claimed to have seen shadows in the void, vast outlines of structures hidden in the starlight. Others swore they detected movement, colossal shapes shifting slowly as if awakening from long dormancy. The elders scoffed. Humanity is extinct, they reminded their subordinates. The graveyards hold nothing but dust. But the graveyards were not silent. The awakening graveyard. When the Tsaran finally committed a research vessel, they expected derelicts. What they found froze every tongue in the command chamber. A cluster of metallic giants drifted among the shattered husks of stations. At first, they looked inert, hulking silhouettes locked in the embrace of time. But as scanners probed deeper, strange patterns emerged. Energy signatures throbbed faintly, hidden behind layers of shielding. Hulls that should have been corroded by centuries looked intact, their armor unblemished by the erosion of space. And then one of the dead ships moved. A thrumming vibration spread across the void, subtle but undeniable. The vessel's lights flickered to life, running in long pulses across its colossal frame. Engines that had slept for ages ignited, casting blue fire across the darkness. Symbols, old Terran insignias, burned bright against the hull, sharp and defiant as though painted yesterday. The researchers barely had time to send their panic transmissions before more ships stirred. One by one, the graveyard woke. Destroyers, carriers, dreadnoughts, each shaking off centuries of silence as though time had never touched them. It was not a ruin, It was a fleet. Engines of the forgotten. Panic erupted across the council's chambers. The feeds from the expanse showed an impossible sight. A Terran armada, vast beyond measure, aligning itself with military precision. These ships were old. By all calculations, they belonged to an era when humanity should have been primitive compared to modern empires. Yet their designs radiated a menace no one could dismiss. They bore scars, not of decay, but of battle, each one restored by some unseen hand. Their hulls bristled with weapon ports, their shadows alone large enough to eclipse the stars behind them. And they moved flawlessly. No hesitation, no clumsiness of machines long dormant. Their formations locked into place with chilling speed, as though their crews had never left their posts. How, the council demanded. No archive spoke of this. No record admitted such a fleet existed. But the truth was undeniable. The humans had not perished in silence. They had preserved storms, arsenals hidden in the void, waiting for the day they would be needed. The sky becomes a storm. When the first alien fleet was dispatched to contain the anomaly, they went with confidence. Their warships were equipped with the newest plasma arrays, their captains veterans of countless skirmishes. They expected to sweep away relics of a dead race. Instead, they entered hell. The Terran fleet moved like predators unleashed. Engines roared across the void, maneuvers so sharp they shredded predictive algorithms. Missiles launched in synchronized salvos, each warhead splitting mid-flight into swarms of intelligent munitions that pierced shields like paper. Beams of energy, focused and merciless, cut through alien cruisers as though slicing meat from bone. The Council fleet barely had time to respond before half their ships were vaporized. Those who tried to retreat found their paths cut off,